Hello, sixth graders. So what we're going to be doing in today's lesson is just making a regular paper airplane. We're going to actually make three different types of paper airplanes. So if you stay tuned, you'll get to see all three. I know I should probably be doing this in colored paper, but you could probably see a lot of this online. If you go to YouTube, outside of my channel, you could easily see some paper airplanes being made. So what we're going to do is just going to make your basic dart paper airplane. So just line up my corners, make a nice edge, and fold my two sides into the center. And the reason I'm doing it and not showing you just or sending you to some professional site is because I want you to see that, you know what, I don't always do it right. I'm not always perfect, and sometimes that doesn't matter to get a great flight. Like, I'm a little bit off here, but you know, whatever. So once I have the two corners flipped over and folded in, I can do two more. I do try to get it as close as I possibly can, but these days my eyesight's not too good, so if it's not perfect, well, whatever. Gives you an opportunity to beat me, I guess. All right, so now we've got our two wings. Now, a lot of people will tell you to fold that in, and I don't fold that in. I fold it the opposite direction. I go back. Make sure my wings are lined up. We do want those to be as equal as we possibly can. And in this video, we're going to talk about surface area and how that's going to take its place here. So with this surface area, I definitely want my wings to come down, and I'm going to just try to pick some sort of level area, meaning like a parallel line with this edge here. I'm not going to go all the way to the end of it. Now, this isn't the best paper airplane, but a lot of kids do go with this paper airplane for some reason. I'll show you a different one that I like a little bit better. And so I'll keep that down. Try to line them up so that the folds are equal. My wings are the same size, because that's actually going to be pretty important to making sure that my dart works. So there's my dart. Now, this is surface area. The amount of space that can catch wind would be like this area underneath the wings. So when this plane is falling, the wind will catch underneath and it'll fall slower. And that's actually really good for paper airplanes, because if you want to get further distance, you want it to be able to catch a hold of the wind and float down. And sometimes you can see birds doing this. They'll flap their wings and then they just hold them out and they kind of glide around on the wind currents. And so we're trying to do that here. As we throw the plane up, the plane will get to a certain height and float down. I am a big guy on making sure that my wings don't angle downward. I like them to be angled a little bit more upward. So what I usually do is I make a bend into the wing, and I try to bring it to that fold. To this fold, I bring one end to that fold so that both sides are the same. And then I unfold them so that when I'm throwing my plane, the wings sort of have a little bit of an incline. That's something I like to do with this model. So this is the basic dart. I'll just put that over here. Here's one that I actually like to fly a lot. I'm not really sure what this one's called. I think someone once told me it was a wasp, but I don't know. Same fold in the middle. Exactly as I did with the previous plane. But now, instead of leaving the point, and this is the difference between the two, when you throw a paper airplane and it hits the ground, the point starts to get dented. And when the point gets dented, the surface area changes a little bit and the wind gets caught in that dent and changes the way the plane flies. So if it's not perfect, you know, it can change. Where this one here, we're getting rid of that fold. And because I'm getting rid of the fold, it's going to be more flat surface there. And now I'm going to take my two ends and I'm going to fold them in here. And I want to get these guys on that center fold. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And again, you can see that I'm not perfect. I'm just never that great at folding, but you know, for some reason this plane goes pretty far, which is why I like to use it a lot. So I'll open this up. Okay, you can see I've definitely done something wrong as far as this is concerned, but I can always cut my edges off. Again, I'm just not that great at folding. And so now, instead of finding, you know, like making a parallel line, I'm actually going to fold this right down to that corner, to the bottom edge of this. Line it up. And do it on the other side. So now when this opens up, it's already at a little bit of an incline, and I don't have a point. I have like a flat edge. So this one flies pretty well with the way that it's built. So that's a second airplane. And again, like you can see I have a difference here. And when you have a difference, it actually weighs and it pulls you down. So I'm going to probably snip that off because I've done such a poor job of folding it. But I'll snip it off and try to make it even. And I think that's something you need to do. And the great part is that I'm making these mistakes. Because no matter how many times I've actually folded these paper airplanes, I always come up with a mistake somewhere because I just am not doing a great job at folding. And for kids, you'll constantly make mistakes. And it's okay if you make adjustments to those mistakes. So this is the last plane. And this is actually one that my son loves. He always says this one does the best. He's 4, but he does a good job at throwing them. So we're going to do the same thing we did with the last plane and the plane before that. I'll try to make my folds a little bit nicer this time. And yes, of course, I did something wrong again because I'm off on that fold. Now this time I'm going to fold it down to here. I'm not going to go all the way. I definitely want some flat edges on the side. I don't want it to go right to the point. I'm going to fold that in. Just to make a little bit more of an indentation. And so now I'm going to do the same thing that I did before, but instead of lining up a straight edge, I'm going to line up this corner in. And I'm just going to try to match it on that side. And the reason my son likes this is because it's a little bit more symmetrical on both sides, because you can make the adjustments. And when I have that, I'll fold this part here up and over. And fold it in. And when we're done, we can do the same thing we did with the last plane where we fold our wings down and line them up with the bottom. There's one. Flip it over. Try to line it up again. And there's 2. All right, so I've got my 3 paper airplanes, as you can see, and I'm going to test these by throwing all 3 of them and figure out which one I actually like best. And whatever one I like best, well, that's the one I'm going to use in the tournament, and that's what I expect from you. Make a couple different ones. Heck, you guys can make like 15 different paper airplanes and fly them outside. That's part of, going through a brainstorming process that really comes up with that one that you're going to choose that you like the best. To work the best for you. You know that you're going into a competition with the paper airplane that you're most successful with. And we'll talk about throwing them in another video, but for right now, this is our 3 paper airplanes, and that's your next job, is to come up with 3 different paper airplanes, at least 3. Test them, throw them, and find out which one you like the best.